out that ugliness off of us. When Islam does not come to promote street life. Oh, that's not our culture. Oh, well, that's my culture. No, that's not our culture. Baseness is peeled out of Islam. And this shows a wrong understanding of fiqh. Not everything, but then we have to have ulama to show that. What do we see is brothers taking off their thobes and putting on baseball caps. No, we don't look like kafirs. No, we don't. The turban is what we wear. The thobe is what we wear. We make it practical for our day so we can fight in them. But half these dudes look pregnant. Right or wrong? So, we have to look realistically at what's going on. The counterintelligence program is still alive and working in the Muslim community. We are not attacking Islam. We're attacking the people's fake practice of what Islam is. We're not saying that you shouldn't follow the Salaf in the proper way, but we're saying that what's going on is not the proper way. Okay? And we're saying what's to be done forward, you got to educate yourself. Not just in your Islam. After 20 years, like we said, most people don't even know. Most people, I'm talking about people who are talking, can't even tell you all the different subjects of fiqh. As though it's so limitless that you can't remember them all. But we're going to run them through. Inshallah ta'ala. Most people saying, oh man, we got this going on, but where's your product? Where are your hufaz? Where are your students that are memorizing the Quran and finishing it? Where are you with being Salafi with the Quran and with the Lughah and these things? These are just basics. Yet we got time to tear down our leaders. Anyone who points you to tear down your leaders, you know he's a traitor. Anybody starts talking about, Bilal Phillips, Siraj Wahaj, any of the people who we're standing on their show, these are our leaders. Bilal Phillips was the first PhD we had. Coming up from overseas and studying, right, he was and is an institution in and of himself. Doesn't get any of the respect that he's due. With regard, an institution, one man. Yet we talk trash, so much trash to this guy about him. And then we wonder what's wrong with us. You will never get respect as an individual because there is no such thing as individual respect. The individual gets the respect that his group gets. Does that make sense? So the individual respect only is based on the respect the group has gotten. And that's based on their own unity, their united willingness to come together and fight for the individual. Disrespect. You see how that goes in a circle there? But we're the ones tearing it up, not realizing that we're being pushed by other people in that regard. We don't put together what happened to Martin Luther King Jr. and Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz and them saying at that time there will be no new leader, African descendant leader in the United States, and there hasn't been. Every time there has been, one has been destroyed politically or characteristically or physically. We don't want to tie that together. And just recently, what did they do? They showed that Martin Luther King Jr. was not just shot. They showed on all the things that Martin Luther King Jr. lived through that shooting and got murdered in the hospital. You would think that this would be amazing, world-shocking news. The state paid his family millions of dollars because they showed where the doctor smothered him with the pillow in the operating room. This ain't new news. This is not new news. They paid a settlement for it. Yet we still don't get it. We still don't get it. This childish mentality is what's holding us back. This is the mentality not of the Salaf. This is the mentality of the Khalaf. This is the mentality of the Khawarij. How that keep fighting and doing that type of stuff. Fighting and find every little hole. Ain't nobody perfect, of course. But we keep doing this thing, and then what the problem is when you give it mind. One of the things Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, he taught us, he said, be like a jackass. Now in Arabic, a jackass is not a bad thing. Okay, one of the Khalifas was called a himar, meaning he was stubborn, he was determined. He ain't look sideways. Once the jackass gets going, you can't beat him off his path, can you? So Ibn Uthaymin used to say to us, rahimahullah, be like a jackass, man. Focus and go. Don't even look sideways. They gonna keep talking. But you leave them, let them talk amongst themselves. They ain't going nowhere. Seriously. They may change their clothes, but they're doing the same thing that they was doing before. Now you can either pay them attention or you can get busy having a life. That's what you can do. Because they're never going to stop talking. One of the things I learned about Al Sharpton, I never used to like Al Sharpton. Growing up, because anybody remembers Tawana Broadley? Yeah. Back in the days, I'm a Brooklyn kid, so I remember exactly when it happened, and the cop that committed suicide the morning that they found her and everything. I remember I was confused because I was young about that. And then this guy walking around with a perm, I was like, man, this ain't Cali, this. And I remember when he first started following around James Brown, and I asked my father, what is, because my father was in the courthouse, so I'm at the court all the time. Who is this guy, And I see that all through his life, I've been watching him since the 70s. He never turned around and respond to people about stuff they say about him. I start saying, man, all the bad stuff they say, he just keep on doing his thing. I said, man, that shows class. After a while, you say, man, he ain't been in no sex scandal, He's been married, he go visit his mother, he do his thing. Every time it's something, he there fighting. May not like his dean or how he does something, but I learned the lesson from him. Don't look sideways. You don't got to pay him you don't got to give him the time of day. Just do your thing. Now, me as a teacher, I'm mentioning these things because our teachers mentioned them to us. And I told you guys this before. There will always be flies. Right? Yeah. The flies are going to want you to smack at them. They want you to pull your attention and focus on them. They are worse than flies. They're not worth it. You got to focus through those things and learn and study and memorize. And while they doing that, trying to figure out who's on it and who's off it, you're trying to learn on what you're supposed to do and how to get it done. And then whose quality of life improves? Yours. That's the only one you're worried about. Nafsi, right? So let's get busy. Alhamdulillah, may Allah make it easy for us and our leaders and to follow them. And mashallah, alhamdulillah, barakallah fina. Shaykh Bilal Phillips has been one of my mentors, one of the people I've been looking up to for years, because of all the great work that he's done and putting books together. And that's why I started writing books too, because he started writing books on Islam that were easy, and I want to take a little step further and do it a little bit different. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless him and bless his knowledge and bless us with his knowledge. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. And may Allah bless those people to do half of what he's done, for Islam. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. It's really funny. I remember one time there were some people talking about Shaykh Bilal Phillips, saying, oh, he wrote in the book XYZ. And then you said, well, let me see that book. And that book was written 10 years earlier from the time that they were talking about. And he had, on his website, his son had already written an explanation of that mistake. And I said, where were you 10 years ago? Where were you when he did this, when he made this mistake? You get my point? Oh, I was wrong. Well, then shut up. Really. People don't know. Bilal Phillips is a martial artist. He can fight. No, he can fight. He's a Shaolin guy. Half these guys could not stand up next to him. I'm dead serious. So they don't even know who they're dealing with, but they just talk. Alhamdulillah. A guy is good when the United States stops a plane from him coming into this country. Bilal Phillips was on a plane going to come to the United States. They sent the birds up. No, you ain't. That cat is not landing in the States. Why? Because he makes too much sense. If you got to talk to him personally, if he was getting here, there would be nobody that could shut him down. And they do not want a unifying factor. Why do you think H. Rap Brown got locked up? Why do you think he got set up like that? They knew they couldn't approach him with no guns out. He gonna fight. Set him up. And they set another one of the brothers up in Detroit, older cat, the imam, set him up, shot him as he's going in his trunk. They got rid of certain people. And this is to keep the stabilization of the community. So, we need to, really think about what we're doing. Okay, and most of these other guys are not going to bust a grape in a fruit fight. They're not going to do nothing. I'm telling you, man.
Grape is the easiest thing to bust.
Yeah. They're going to call you a spy, this one a snitch, this one that, and everything, and then let the feds come knock on their door. Oh, no. I'm telling you. I mean, you see what happened to me? Where was that? Crickets. You know, we were looking for an Islamic, scholar to come. We didn't get one African American. Okay? Couldn't get one. Number one, most of them weren't qualified. Didn't read the qualifications to do it. The few that would have weren't going to come back to the States, which I can understand that. But alhamdulillah, Desi brothers stepped up. You know, our brothers stepped up. And then I qualified told them, look, take my qualifications. And they accepted that in the court as for expert witness status, you know? But where were all these Salafi brothers? Don't even know what's going on. Worrying about who they're going to marry next. Serious. Hey, man akthara min shay'in urifa bih. Whoever does something in abundance is known by that. And that's why a lot of these people now, sadly, look at our community. What is New York and Philly known for? It's high AIDS rate of our African American women, and Philly's known for the high rate of men having genital herpes and hiding it and giving it to the sisters. This is your Salafiyah? You get my point? So, you know, we need to really grow up. Really grow up. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. I'm sorry, man.
I've been like this ever since I got that thing.
Don't tell me stuff like that at the beginning of the class.
I will do it next time. I knew somebody. I'm going to do it next time.
Doctor wasn't here.
Yeah, it was a good talk.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Listen, focus, learn your lessons. Learn your lessons and practice your deen. And don't let nobody, pull you away from learning your deen in the proper and appropriate fashion and trying to learn it in order to apply it to improve your quality of life. Okay? The quality of life of you and your community. That's what this deen is all about. And our situation here in the United States is our situation here in the United States. That we have to focus on here, no matter whatever anybody else is doing elsewhere in the world, that's their situation. We have to focus on what is pertinent and important for us. And we are in a dire situation. I saw this one thing that said we must, we will. We have to say that to ourselves. These are things that we can, we must, and we will, inshallah. This is what we have to do. Let's go over a few things. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah for the Lord Supreme. Who's been so kind to the Muslimin. Sending Islam with Muhammad to teach. We study his actions in beautiful speech. Quranic in nature, the model of fiqh. So take from the Prophet whatever's legit. Taubah has plotted to sketch in our minds a drawing of fiqh in a graphic design. Imagining deeply our hearts would delight. And through outlining fiqh that a spark would ignite. Our mindset, our manners, our conduct intact. The laws of behavior and how we should act. Fiqh is divided in four major parts. Ibadah is drawn from the fiqh of the hearts. Business transactions with all of its deals. And family provisions including the meals. Legal procedures, offenses of law. Then under these titles make everything fall. Put under ibadah the worshipping laws. In the actions that stem from the slave to his Lord. In the actions that stem from the slave to his Lord. It's important, the language. Aqidah Tahara preceding Salah. A janazah is for all when the rich pay zakat. Siyam i'tikaf if you're spending the night. And a hajj for whoever can pay for the flight. We covered that last week, right? One of the things I didn't mention was the word i'tikaf. What does it mean?
You mentioned.
Did I mention i'tikaf means to be يعني عاكفون على شيء يعني like a drug addict?
No.
Okay. The word, يعكفون على الأصنام لهم, right? Al-akafa or mu'takif is a drug addict. Oh, no, sorry, is an addict. Does that make sense? Anyone who's addicted to something. What does it mean to be addicted to something? Sorry? Gotta have it. Say again. I can't hear you guys. Dependent on that thing, right?
It's constantly on your mind.
Constantly on your mind and constantly going back and forth to it. So in Arabic, we say somebody's mu'takif or he's mu'takif ala shay, ala mukhadarat, he's addicted to drugs. You get my point? Why? What is a crackhead doing?
Getting the next fix.
He's doing whatever he got to do to get his next high. To get to that point where he's smoking and getting high. What does he do after he finishes getting high?
Wait for that one go on.
As soon as he finished, he's back out there where crackheads are the hardest working cats I've seen. You know? Yeah? They're out there working so that they can get another high. And that's what it means to be mu'takif ala shay. Okay? And we're supposed to be like that. One act of ibadah to another one. Okay? What is a crackhead looking for? That euphoria, that high. What are we looking for? That same high. But we know where to get it. It can only be got through ibadah. Like the scholar said, there's a small piece, there's a gap in everybody's heart. It cannot be filled except with the love and ibadah of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do that, then you're feeling that sense of fulfillment. They get a glimpse of it because shaitan is wearing them out, right? They do that and they think they got it, chasing for it, they want it for half a second. And now they think, man, that was so, exhilarating for them. They want to do whatever they got to do to try to get that again. It's sad, really. But alhamdulillah, that's again why we should say, alhamdulillah, alladhi afana mimma ibtalayhim. Alhamdulillah, all praise belongs to Allah, the one who has saved them from what he's testing them with. Okay? وَفَضَّلَنَا عَلَى كَثِيرٍ مِّمَّنْ خَلَقَ تَفْضِيلًا. And he has favored us over much of the creation, so that we know how to get high in the halal way. That may sound funny, but really, if you appreciate that act of ibadah, there's nothing more fulfilling than standing up and praying and you're not in a rush. Right? That's why when you come to the masjid, it's so much easier and so much more fulfilling to do it in the masjid, especially at Isha or at Fajr, those times, or if it's in the middle of the day, if you can come for the Lord and you ain't got to run, as opposed to out in the street someplace, because you're at your job, where you're worrying about, man, can I get this done before somebody attack me, or am I in the way or something? You get my point? There's no stress there. Or fasting, when you're breaking your fast and those things like that, or any other things. And if we think about these activities, we will start to enjoy them even more. Okay? So understand that from the concept of i'tikaf, that when you come to the masjid, that's the mentality you're supposed to have. You're supposed to be addicted and focused on Allah. And Allah tells us, and when you finish doing one thing, stand up and do something else. That's how we're supposed to be doing it, getting it from every way we can. Because the variety helps keep you fresh. Does that make sense? The variety of acts of ibadah. Sometimes we don't get bored, but the ear gets bored. The eyes get bored. So you can't read all the time. You can't write all the time. You can't listen all the time. But then you do something different. You can do it. Does that make sense? Okay, we're on another part of here in this section. Now we're in the second section. The second section here is business transactions, okay? Is the other guy coming today? Because I don't know.
It seems like when you're teaching, they expect you to do it.
It seems like
I don't have a problem with it, but I just don't like to go against the data, the administrative process. Yes, ma'am.
You said there were the 4 virtues. Did you do all 4?
Say again?
For the...
No, I did not. The third one is iffa. Iffa is discipline. Okay? Iffa. From what is born out of iffa is, what do you call it? First of all, if you have iffa, you're balanced. The adl keeps all the rest of these in place. When you don't have any iffa, you do anything you want. You're a pervert. Okay? No, shameless Shameless sinner. If you have too much, that becomes perverse. That's psychopathic perversion. And the example is like the American court system. They perverse, the truth. You can only say this, you can't say that. And they make like that's justice, right? That's a perversion of justice. You get my point? And the fourth one, and so what's born out of ifa is fasting. Okay? Reading Quran, hifz al-Quran, those things like that. And the fourth one is hikmah, wisdom. And so ifa from what do you call it? Uthman ibn Affan, mubalaghatul ifa. And the fourth one is Ali ibn Abi Talib, the son of the Prophet, not the son, but he's like the stepson of the son of the Prophet because he's raised in his home and married his daughter, And so he never was a kafir, and he learned all his wisdom from the Prophet And so hikmah is the balance again. If you don't have enough, then he's ahmaq, he's stupid. And if he thinks he's so slick, over here, he's gone so far over the end, and he thinks he's shrewd, he thinks he can outslick Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like the Yahud did. Right? Try to. He becomes a khadi', a deceiver. Right? يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَيُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَهُوَ خَادِعُهُم. And he tricks them. Right? He deceives himself. But the balance is hikmah. Balance, understanding, wisdom. And from hikmah comes mercy. From hikmah comes so many different things. Applying the hukum again, the rulings and everything like that. Doing what is appropriate. Finding different ways to do it as well. So those are the four mothers of all virtues. I challenge my children. I love talking about this to teenagers because they're learning now and they think they know so much. You say, hey, look, if you have a friend, he has to have one of these virtues or all of these virtues. If they don't, then that's not a real friend. Okay? That's a play friend. So now, what virtue do you have? Now, if you can't think about that, then, you don't need to have these people as your friend. Don't have them call to my house. Right? And they have to think about and look at their friends and see what virtues they have. And so, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen. Subhanakallah. Please, after the salah, please, as soon as possible, we come back so we got to go through business transactions, okay? All right, assalamu alaikum.